Both Microsoft and Sony have a lot going for them currently, and it looks like that's going to be a continuing trend throughout next year as well. We're going to be getting more games than we've ever gotten at any point in any console generation, especially when you consider the exclusive titles and things like that. Both first parties are absolutely stacked, both Sony's and Microsoft. Microsoft obviously with the 23, and I think Sony has 17 now. I believe it's at 17, but anyway, I think, it's very interesting to see the way that people sort of react to the differences between what Microsoft and Sony have to offer. And thankfully, us as gamers, we have the option to, buy whichever one we want. We could buy both if we want to, but at the same time, we can just get one if we want to, and that's perfectly fine as well. Now, what would it have taken to get Microsoft back in the thick of things, right? If you go back to the Xbox 360 era, we were at a time when, the media loved Xbox. Even with Red Ring of Death, after that took place, people still really loved it, and the PlayStation 3 kind of struggled. And yeah, the PlayStation 3 caught up at the end of the generation, but the damage had already long been done, and Microsoft could be considered the victor of the generation. I know that a lot of people will go by consoles sold or whatever, and that's a way to do it too, but if you just look at the way that Microsoft went out there and the way that they did things that they did, really just came out smelling like a rose. And when you look at PlayStation, maybe not so much. But I want to get into this because this news, and I saw this article and I wanted to get into it and kind of talk to people about it and see what they feel about it, because I think it's a very good topic. Hey there everyone, I'm the Crapgamer, and this of course is Crapgamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. You'll probably notice a few cool changes around here, and hopefully that doesn't stop you from leaving us a like and possibly even consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your free time with me today. It really does mean a lot. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all that kind of good stuff. Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Now, the interesting thing about this is, what is it going to take to have Microsoft come back and be relevant again? A lot of people had a lot of different things to say. A lot of people said stuff like Xbox Game Pass or all these other things that to me personally could be a piece of the puzzle, but in the long kind of grand scheme of things don't really matter. It was always going to come down to the games, and obviously 2021 has been a weird year when it comes to games, but Halo, since 343 Industries took over, hasn't exactly been up to the same standards that the franchise once held with Bungie. That's to be expected when the control of a series as a big game like Halo is transferred. Gears of War hasn't been able to top Gears of War 3, for instance, but Halo Infinite is 343's best offering yet, potentially rivaling some of the series' biggest highlights. Now, see, this article is talking about how, Halo has revitalized, one of the old guard games, and helped revitalize Xbox. Now, had this game come out a couple years ago, I don't think it would have been as reviewed as well, and I don't think it's hard to say if that's biased or not. I'm not really sure. I do think that, people were in a bad space with Microsoft, myself included. So, I've said some negative things about Microsoft and Xbox, and so have, some of these other places, but it's always going to be very interesting to see how these places react now that Microsoft seems to be doing a lot of stuff in a positive way for gamers. So the campaign alone feels like a revelation, the move to an open world format and the evolution that the Halo series needed to survive for the next 20 years. While it's far from original in its design and execution, the formula lends itself easily to the expansive chaos of Halo's firefights. Halo has always thrived in open world environments and chaos happening all around you, and the world of Infinite Zeta Halo proves that in spades. In truth, the real magic of Halo's Infinite open world is the sense of discovery, moving from object to objective, and you'll find different emergent instances like banished patrols, skirmishes, and other opportunities for fun. Sure, you might be planning on taking over an enemy outpost with your battle rifle and rocket launcher, but stumbling across banished, riding around in a ghost, might change your plans somewhat. The wish fulfillment of a FPS is that it's supposed to make you feel like a badass, and a game like Doom Eternal does that through animations and abilities, as it's hard to not feel like an all-conquering awesome person when you're literally ripping and tearing apart demons. Halo Infinite also makes you feel a bit like a badass, but in a way that feels more visceral and strategic. Every engagement is a chance for you to think tactically, to use the tools at your disposal in the most creative and effective ways possible. Zeta Halo as a whole is a canvas, and the chief's paintbrushes and tools are rifles and shotguns and explosive devices. The blood of the banished is the paint, if the metaphor didn't track for you there. While Halo Infinite is worthy of Game of the Year on campaign alone, the stellar free-to-play multiplayer is also icing on the cake. Though the Battle Pass and playlists have caused some controversy, the core gameplay is unrivaled. Quite simply, Halo Infinite is the best multiplayer shooter on the market right now, with gameplay that's incredibly fun to pick up and play. Even if you're a new player, the wealth of training options and bot matches allow you to ease yourself into playing online. The Xbox Series X and S have been yearning for that new killer app, and Halo Infinite delivers by the bucket load for fans of the series. This is a renewal of faith that Halo's in safe hands with 343, moving forward into the future. For new players, Halo Infinite offers enough new ideas and content to serve as the perfect point to get involved. So this was a nice little article, and it kind of just reminded me that, you know, it was always going to be about the games that are going to attract people back to Xbox, and that's exactly what this is kind of talking about. You know, yeah, obviously some of the features and stuff that Xbox can do could be somewhat game-like, right? Like, you know, like some of the features, right? Like you can look at something like FPS boost or backwards compatibility, or, you know, like I had said earlier, quick resume, things like that. You know, Game Pass, those are nice services and features, but it was always going to be the games, and I feel like that's the point that exactly Microsoft has kind of attacked. And, you know, they're out there making sure that people are aware that that's the most important thing. And I hate to keep using that, you know, the Microsoft Power On documentary, but, you know, they can make it clear. Even Don Matrick himself said I could have did a better job at making people, you know, feel a little bit reassured that games and the quality games and stuff like that were still coming, and that was going to be the focus, you know, because Microsoft did things a little bit backwards, and, you know, at the end of the day, that's not going to be the best way to attract people to your platform. But, you know, Microsoft has now obviously changed completely. You know, they did their whole 180 and all that kind of stuff, and we see that that's actually paying some dividends. You know, that's something that's working out well for them. They're looked at as this console maker that has done amazing things, and it's super consumer friendly. And, you know, I think enough good things that can't be said about that. You know, what exactly is kind of going on with what they're, you know, doing now. Like, you know, that's anybody's guess, but, you know, Microsoft has come a long way. You know, even I admit that, and I do hope to see, you know, like I said, some changes and things like that in the future, as long as they continue to pay attention to the fans. I think the fans are the driving force behind everything what Microsoft does. They don't want to look bad, and I've said that multiple times. They definitely don't want to look bad, and so I think that's what this is kind of going to come down to. But what do you guys think? I mean, it comes down to the games. Having a Forza and a Halo, and having them both be quality like that, I think is huge. And going into next year where we have something new like Starfield coming out, I think the sky's the limit. But I would like to hear your guys' thoughts. Rack them up, fact them up, Crapgamer them up. Thank you so much for watching. Crapgamer out.